What if a black hole showed up at the edge of our solar system? Right now, tonight, the end of the world wouldn't start with a bang. No fire in the sky, no sirens, no cities falling overnight. At first, nothing would look wrong at all. People would still go to work. Kids would still go to school. The world would still feel completely normal. But somewhere inside a quiet observatory, one scientist would notice something. Just one number, a number that doesn't make sense. An orbit slightly off track, a beam of starlight bending where it shouldn't. A signal coming from a region of space that should be empty. No planet there. No comet, no asteroid, no object at all. Just darkness. A blank patch of space, quietly pulling everything around it out of place. And that's what makes this so terrifying. A black hole doesn't need to hit Earth to destroy us. It only has to get close enough to bend our orbits. Close enough to wake ancient comets, sleeping since the birth of the solar system. Close enough to turn our own system into a weapon we no longer control. And by the time we finally understand what's out there, the most dangerous question won't be, can we stop it? It will be, who already knew? Because if world governments found the truth before the rest of us, would they warn humanity, or would they bury it? Some truths don't destroy us when they're discovered. They destroy us the moment someone decides to hide them. How do you think the end of the world would begin? A giant explosion. A burning asteroid ripping across the sky. Sirens screaming through every major city. No. In the most terrifying version of this story, it begins with silence. One ordinary morning, astronomers noticed something strange. A few small objects near the edge of our solar system are no longer moving the way they should. At first, nobody panics. Maybe it's bad data. Maybe a telescope glitched. Maybe the math is just slightly off. But then it happens again and again. A deep space probe sends back distorted images. Light from a distant star bending in a way no one can explain. Satellites pick up strange gravitational noise from a region where nothing should be happening at all. No planet in the images, no comet, no asteroid. No visible object at all, just a dark patch of space. An empty region quietly bending everything around it. And if the scientists are right, Whatever is hiding out there is not a lost planet. It is not a dead star. It may be a black hole. A place where gravity is so powerful, even light cannot escape. But here's the part that makes this truly disturbing. It does not need to be heading straight for Earth. It only needs to be close, because a black hole does not need to roar. It does not need to glow. It does not need to announce itself. It can simply exist, silently pulling on planets, bending starlight, swallowing dust, rock, and anything that drifts too close. Piece by piece, it could unravel the entire balance of our solar system. And by the time we realize what's happening, the real question may no longer be, can we stop it? The real question may be, did we notice it too late? Pay attention to this. In space, the most dangerous thing is not always the one making the loudest noise. Sometimes the scariest threat is the one that makes the numbers look wrong. A tiny error in a telescope reading, a strange bend in a beam of light, a signal from the edge of the solar system that should not exist. And in a few minutes, you will understand why one small anomaly could become a death sentence for the entire human race. Because if this really is a black hole, the next question is not who sees it first. The real question is, would world governments tell us the truth, or would they bury it to prevent global panic? If a black hole really appeared at the edge of the solar system, the first threat humanity would face might not be gravity, it would be information. Because in the first few hours, ordinary people would probably know nothing. No breaking news alert, no emergency broadcast, no president standing in front of cameras saying, "We may have detected a black hole near our solar system." That is not how it would begin. It would begin behind closed doors. A small group of scientists would check the data again, then again, then again. Orbital experts would try to eliminate every possible mistake. Space agencies would quietly exchange numbers, images, and warnings. And somewhere, the first classified reports would reach the highest levels of government. Not because everyone involved is evil, but because some truths can destroy society before the disaster even arrives. Imagine this headline appearing across every phone in America. Possible black hole detected near the solar system. Just one sentence. The stock market could collapse within hours. Grocery stores could be emptied overnight. Airports could turn into chaos. Cities could panic. Social media would explode with fake news, doomsday predictions, conspiracy theories, and people claiming they know the real truth. And when fear takes over, human beings can become more dangerous than the threat itself. That is the terrifying paradox. If the government tells the truth too early, society might tear itself apart. But if they wait too long, humanity could lose the only time it has left to prepare. So what is the right choice? Do people have the right to know? Or do leaders have the responsibility to prevent panic? Between those two questions are billions of ordinary lives. People waking up, making coffee, driving to work, dropping their kids off at school, all while somewhere beyond Neptune, a dark object may already be changing the future of the human race. But here is where the story gets even darker. If governments decide to keep it secret, what do they do next? Do they start building evacuation plans? Do they prepare spacecraft Do they create hidden data vaults containing everything humanity has ever learned? Or do they quietly begin choosing who gets to survive? And if only a small number of people can be saved, who gets to make that decision? Scientists, military leaders, presidents, billionaires with private space programs, or people labeled as essential for rebuilding civilization. This is the part most disaster stories avoid. In a cosmic emergency, the scariest question may not be whether humans are smart enough to survive. It may be whether humans are fair enough. Because when resources run out, kindness gets tested. When time runs out, truth becomes a privilege. And when the end of the world is no longer science fiction, civilization shows its real face. Out there, the black hole may still be silent. But here on Earth, another kind of disaster has already begun. Not in space, inside the human mind. So ask yourself this. If you found out the government had known the truth for months and said nothing, would you be angry that they lied? Or would you understand that silence may have been the only thing keeping the world from collapsing too soon? And that leads to an even colder question. If we can only save a small part of humanity, who deserves a seat on the last ship leaving Earth? Once the survivors are chosen, the next question is no longer who leaves Earth. It is where they are supposed to go. In movies, escaping Earth looks simple. Launch the rocket, break through the clouds, fly into space, survive. But real space is not a sanctuary. It is a dead ocean. Freezing, airless, flooded with radiation, so vast, the human brain can barely understand the distances involved. If a black hole appears near the edge of our solar system, leaving Earth might not be enough, because the black hole would not threaten just one planet. It could disturb the entire solar system. Mars might not be safe. The moons of Jupiter might not be safe. The icy worlds beyond Neptune might not be safe. A place that looks like a refuge today could become unstable tomorrow if its orbit is pulled out of balance. And that is what makes this plan feel almost hopeless. Humanity may not just need to leave Earth. Humanity may need to leave the solar system. But to do that, we would need ships unlike anything ever built. Not rockets carrying a few astronauts. Not capsules orbiting Earth. Generation ships, massive vessels where people could live, work, have children, grow old and die during a journey that may take hundreds or even thousands of years. On those ships, Earth would stop being home. It would become a memory, a photograph on a wall, a story told to children who were born in deep space. Children who have never seen an ocean, never felt rain, never heard wind moving through trees, never stood under a blue sky. And that is when survival becomes something deeper. It becomes an identity crisis. If a new generation is born on a ship and has no memory of Earth, are they still Earth's children, or are they something else? A new branch of humanity carrying our history, but no longer belonging to our world. Pay attention to this. Escaping death does not always mean saving life as we know it. Humanity might survive, but civilization would have to be compressed. Cities, languages, family histories, religions, article, music, borders, memories, all packed into data vaults, seed banks, embryos, cryo chambers, and stories passed down from one generation to the next. The final library of humankind, a memory box drifting through the dark. And meanwhile, the black hole keeps moving. It does not need to chase every ship. It does not need to hunt us. Its existence alone could force an entire species to abandon the world where it was born. But leaving does not mean surviving. A generation ship could lose power. A closed ecosystem could collapse. A small disease could become a nightmare. A rebellion could begin among people who realize they will never reach the destination. They are not the generation that gets saved. They are the bridge. They live so their children or their children's children might one day step onto another world. That is the psychological horror of evacuation. Some people would not be chosen to live a better life. They would be chosen to carry life forward. So where would humanity go? Mars, an icy moon with a hidden ocean. A distant star system so far away that light itself takes years to reach us. There is no safe answer, only a less hopeless one. And if that day comes, the most valuable thing we carry will not be gold. Not weapons, not money, it will be the memory of Earth. Because a civilization can lose its home and still survive. But if it forgets where it came from, maybe it has already died in another way. And that leads to the next haunting possibility. If we cannot save all human beings, should we at least save the story of humanity? If humanity cannot take everyone away from Earth, another plan may appear. Not a plan to save our bodies, a plan to save our trace. Because in a disaster this large, we may be forced to accept something painful. Not every civilization gets to survive in flesh and blood. Sometimes the only thing left to save is memory. A final archive could be built. Not inside a museum, not inside a government vault, not buried beneath a mountain, but launched into space. A small, silent vessel carrying proof that humanity once existed. DNA from millions of people, seeds from Earth's plants, biological records of animals, languages, music, history, inventions, article, stories, photographs of oceans, forests, cities, families, wars, peace, love, and all the mistakes we made along the way. Earth's black box. Like the black box on an airplane, it would not be designed to stop the crash. It would be designed so that if everything ends, someone, somewhere, someday might understand what happened here. But what should we put inside? Only the beautiful parts, or the ugly parts too. If an alien civilization found this archive, should they see us as dreamers, artists, builders, and explorers? Or should they also know we fought wars, destroyed forests, polluted oceans, and divided ourselves through greed and fear? This question is uncomfortable, because when a species writes its final introduction, it wants to look good. We want the universe to remember us as the creatures who reached for the stars. But the truth is more complicated. We are also the creatures who pushed ourselves to the edge again and again. Here is the detail that matters. Humans do not only fear disappearing, we fear being misunderstood. If no one is left alive to tell our story, then our entire legacy depends on what we place inside that final box. A symphony says we understood beauty. A mathematical equation says we understood logic. A family photograph says we understood love. But a war record says we understood violence. A destroyed forest says we understood greed. Extinction data says we understood consequences. and ignored them anyway. So would we dare send the whole truth? Or even at the very end, would we still try to control how the universe sees us? Maybe the black box would drift through darkness for millions of years and never be found. Maybe cosmic dust would slowly erase it. Maybe it would crash on a dead world where nothing can open it. Or maybe long after Earth is gone, another civilization would find it. They would decode the data, see our faces, hear our music, read our final words, and realize that on a blue planet, orbiting an ordinary star, a small species once looked up at the sky and wondered, are we alone? Maybe by then humanity would be gone, but that question would still be alive. And maybe that is a kind of immortality, not the immortality of the body. The immortality of memory. A black hole can swallow light. It can swallow matter. It can swallow planets. But if we send our story far enough into the dark, maybe it cannot swallow the meaning of the fact that we were here. After all of this, one truth remains. If a black hole appeared close enough to our solar system, humanity might not get a heroic ending. No final bomb, no secret weapon. No last-minute miracle. No global celebration after we defeat the universe. Because a black hole is not a villain. It is not angry. It does not hate us. It does not chase us. It simply exists. Silent, cold, absolute. And that is what makes it terrifying. Humans like to believe every problem has a solution. If there is disease, we look for medicine. If there is war, we look for peace. If there is an asteroid, we imagine pushing it off course. But a black hole forces us to confront a different kind of truth. Some things in the universe may not be here for us to defeat. They may be here to remind us how small we really are. A civilization can light up cities at night. Send signals across space. Build machines that think. Store all human knowledge inside devices smaller than a hand. But in front of a darkness that can bend light and disturb planets, everything we have built suddenly feels fragile. not meaningless, fragile. And maybe that is exactly what makes humanity worth saving. We know we are small, but we still look up. We know space is dangerous, but we still go. We know we may never find the final answer. But we keep asking questions. Maybe the value of humanity is not in whether we can destroy a black hole. Maybe it is in how we face the dark. Would we panic, divide? Fight over who gets to survive? Or would we protect knowledge, memory, compassion, and the best parts of who we are? If that dark region ever appeared at the edge of our solar system, the final question might not be, how do we live forever? It might be, before we disappear, how do we want the universe to remember us? As a species that destroyed its own home. Or as a flawed, frightened, beautiful species that even at the end tried to protect life, preserve memory, and send one final message into the stars. We were here, we were afraid. But we loved, we dreamed, and we looked up. Maybe that is the one thing even a black hole cannot fully swallow. So here is my question for you. If you were chosen to place one final message inside humanity's black box, what would you write to the universe? Leave it in the comments. Because maybe millions of years from now, if someone finds the last trace of us, the most important thing they discover will not be our most advanced formula. It might be one sentence proving that humanity once had a heart. And if you want more stories like this, where science, fear, mystery, and the human soul collide, follow Strange World Archives. Because out there, in the silence between the stars, more questions are still waiting. And some of them are about to find us. Because in the next episode, we open an even darker question. If Earth were pulled out of its orbit around the sun, would we die from freezing cold, burning heat? Or from the chaos we create before the end even arrives? Subscribe to Strange World Archives and find out before it's too late.